Thank you so much. Please take your seats. Thank you so much. I will stand on existing protocols since I don't know everyone that needs to be honored in this place, but I want to say it's an honor to be here and thank you for having me. While I walked in, I met the CEO of Field Face speaking, Mr. Ben. Good to see you, sir. Thank you for your words. And I also had the privilege of listening to the Deputy Chief Whip of the Enugu State House of Assembly. I wanted to run too, but I was afraid so that I won't waste my money and then still lose the election. I'd rather keep one. I'd rather keep either the money or I will be sure that I was going to win. But maybe someday, somehow, we are going to do what we have to do. Wow. Please clap for yourselves. Thank you for being here. Our mothers are here, our fathers are here. I was here when they introduced some of them. I don't know your name, but thank you for support. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the things you do for the next generation. Now, we are supposed to basically share stories, but not every one of us have plenty stories to share. And I'm a trainer, so basically, I may have to just give you a template for you to do what you have to do. Some of you are young men, you speak, so I will just give you something you can use to build your speaking and your ability to impact people. 2017 precisely, I gave back to a platform in northern Nigeria called the Winning Mindset. It was just it was my way of giving back. I had just retired, or what they call it, resign, or what they call it. I had just stopped working at that time, started my business, so I was no longer working. So I wanted to give back. So I was thinking of what am I going to do that will allow me affect a lot of young people. I wasn't as privileged as Mr. Ben, even though Mr. Ben had to go through hard times to become himself. I wish I was like him. I won't go for any training. I will just continue to enjoy my life and pray for my father to have a long life. It's not every one of us that wants to suffer at least to learn anything, because life has dealt with some of us. So I was not that privileged. I was not privileged in any sense. So I had a very strong drive to succeed. And I had to give up a lot to succeed. I had to drop out several times from school. I had to sacrifice educations at last minute. I had to just do so many things. And so that time I had resigned. I had become a little successful. I could afford the basic things of life. I now have my own house. I now drive the kind of cars I want. I can now go abroad for holiday once or twice in a year. So those basic small things that we used to shout about, now I have them. So I was thinking, now these things are no longer a problem. So what do I do next? What do I do next? So I get back to a platform called the Winning Mindset. It was a small platform. It started with 6 people. And what I do is that they will come to my house. I will talk to them from morning to evening. They will eat lunch in my house. They will eat dinner in my house. My wife got tired of cooking. And all I wanted to do was to remind them that everything you have ever dreamed is possible. So the slogan for the Winning Mindset was, it is possible. That's all I keep saying, morning, afternoon, night. Young man, this thing is possible. I know you dropped out of school, but you can change your life. I kept repeating it and repeating it. And it started getting better, and then we failed. And one day I came for a conference. There was nobody in the hall. I was alone. I had just come back from my John Maxwell certification from the US, so I bought some nice suits and some shoes to come and continue to intimidate those young people. And I came for the conference and nobody came. And I've just told them I came back from US. When I was not going to US, they were coming. Now I went to US to spend thousands of dollars to equip myself. And I returned. Nobody was in the hall. My team came 2 hours late. I sat down on my table in the office and I asked myself, I said, something is wrong. Is it that people don't like the fact that I'm getting better? or they have made up their mind that they are not going to move forward. I felt so bitter. Then I began to find out what made things grow. Yeah, I worked career. My first salary was 35,000. I was cleaning the floor of a warehouse until I rose to the regional manager of the same company. And in 4 years. Now, I grew my finance. I grew myself. At least I was single then. I married one girl. Then we gave back. That's growth. So, but why can't I just change this thing? And I began to learn. I heard Mr. Ben talking about the moment you give back to an idea, prepare for it. Your generation don't have the ability to endure. This generation can't endure certain results because you don't prepare for them. Social media allows you to have fame in 10 minutes. Social media allows you to sell goods and make $1 million in 30 minutes. So you don't really know what is painful. And that's why you feel as fast as you will. So I took a retreat. I'm a Christian, by the way. I'm a believer too, like all of that. I heard somebody shout in the name of Jesus. So I'm a believer too. So I took a time to just think about it. So I shut down the platform and I traveled with my family. So I was trying to think. And some little ideas came. And I came back to Kaduna again. Different this time. And I started the winning mindset again. This time around, it was 2017 September. I didn't do publicity. I didn't do anything. I came back today and I announced the conference the next day. And we're 46 people. And I was impressed by myself. 46 people came. And then the next one, 100 people came. The next one, 150. The next one, 200. The next one, 300. The next one, 400. The next one, like that. And it became the only platform in northern Nigeria and in the entire country to have a conference every month for 5 straight years. I did a conference that filled this room for 5 straight years every month. I have no sponsor. I have no support. I have nobody. I didn't collect a dime from any organization or from any individual. I did it for 5 straight years. 2 years ago, we did our 5-year anniversary. I didn't speak, but the boys I raised spoke, and they are scattered across the country. Emmanuel Akpe, Phil Stephen, Efe Johnson, they're everywhere. Now, let me say this with all humility. Until what you are, what you have, has touched somebody else, you are still poor. I don't give a damn the name of your car. Car will get accident and it will expire. It's only in Nigeria that we use car to oppress people. Car has a 1-year lifespan. In abroad, it's 1-year lifespan. By July, the next 2025 will be out. Actually, 2025 is out now. I don't know the size of your house. That's a good achievement for you. But until the life you have lived have inspired somebody to build a house, you are still a failure. The reason why you are alive is not for yourself. It's good to succeed for yourself. But after you have become whoever you think you are, create something that extends this life to somebody else. Now the winning mindset is no longer in Kaduna every month. Now we go across the country, state by state. We had Port Harcourt 3 years ago. We had Gombe last year. We had Jos last year. We had Owerri sometime. And then we have Abuja, we have Zaria, we have several states. And this year, I have not done any one because I'm still trying to think and rest. Because it has become something beautiful. It has given me fame. It has given me name. It has put me in amazing platforms and in amazing ways. And that's why I'm in Enugu today, because that's where they saw me. They didn't see me anywhere, but because of what I have built. I want to say this, that nothing great is ever born without courage. Nothing great. Nothing that will stand the test of time can be born without courage. Courage is an essential tool in the kit of greatness. Every time you turn around and you see something fantastic, it is born from a courageous man. Living Faith Ministry, courage. It takes courage for a man to drop out of school and still give back to something that the school will use to teach others. Mark Zuckerberg. He left school. Now they are using Facebook as case studies for those of you who go to business schools abroad. They are using the companies of people who dropped out to teach us as case studies. Courage. Courage is not the absence of fear, but it's the ability to move forward in spite of fear, despite the fear. My brother Solomon was speaking and he says, everybody is afraid of something. And that's true. Everybody here has fear of something. I have been speaking for so many years, I still have stage fright. Depends on the room I am in. Depending on the room, depending on who is listening to me. I was privileged to do a training for the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing 4 years ago. I didn't know who I was training. So the woman just called me, like, John Maxwell. My husband too is John Maxwell. Big woman in Abuja. Please, you're going to come to this place, this resort center. There's a training there. I want you to take something on leadership. I didn't ask any question. They just sent me slide. I carried my big head. Didn't ask for, when you want to train, you need to ask your participants. You need to know who is listening to you so that you can know the story to tell. You can tell somebody bigger than you a stupid story. So, then I used to drive all these small cars that used to make you look like young boys. So I used to have a Camaro. So I drove it. I wore a t-shirt and a jeans. When I entered the hall, there was no 50-year-old man. That's number one. Everyone there is a doctor, is a professor. And I asked myself, how did I end up here? For God's sake. I can't even withdraw again because they have announced the speaker is around. The first person to even ask a question has 2 doctorates. Me, I have been dropping out. I have not succeeded in finishing 1. How do you talk to this kind of people? Already my eyes were red. And when I was driving and coming there with my PA, I was coming like a big boy. Suddenly my whole faith. I asked one, sorry sir, where do you work? He says Federal Ministry or posted to Akwa Ibom State. Like a palm sec. I said, Elisha. So I had to take 10 minutes to go and pray in the spirit. For help. Divine assistance. Well, one of my most beautiful presentations up till today. When you finish presenting and the entire hall will stand up and they are clapping, they cannot stop clapping, and everybody's coming to the stage and giving you complimentary card. But I didn't speak. Since I found out everybody in the room is bigger than me, I didn't teach them. I was asking questions. So I'll say, for example, now, I'll ask questions. That man will explain. I'll say, do you agree with him, sir? He will say, no. I'll say your own. 45 minutes, that's what I was doing. So what am I going to tell them? Do you get what I'm saying? The ability to understand your audience is the secret of powerful presentations. Don't just walk into a room because you have slept, you read overnight, and you are talking. There is somebody there. You just have 10 million. There's somebody there that dashed 10 million that morning. So it prepares you. Am I making sense? But it takes courage to even speak beyond. It takes courage. And the next year, I got a letter from the same organization to come and speak. This time around, not in Kaduna, in Kwara State, meaning I blessed them. But this time I was a little more prepared. And I went there, and I taught them this time. It was a little different. Now, what am I trying to say? You can't do anything without courage. Sir, it takes courage to fail. It takes courage to fail. If you have never failed before, you have never done anything. It takes courage to fail. It takes courage to marry. Not when you have a social media. It takes courage to pick a woman. that you don't know before, and you friend her for 1 month and marry her, you will need courage before and after. It takes courage to bring a child into this world. I'm from Kaduna State. 200 and something children were kidnapped. 3 years later, 100 and something was kidnapped. And some of those kids didn't come back home for 5 years. Sir, will you be alive? I don't even know how those parents are still alive. I would have died. You know, I waited for a child for 12 years. Then you will now kidnap him. I will be a kidnapper. I'm not joking. God will have to receive me. I will have to be looking for kidnappers to kidnap. Because I don't even know what it will take for me. And that's why I'm praying for such things not to happen to me. He was giving an example of how they took his life. You know, to you it's normal. It's not normal. We in Kaduna is not normal. There's a friend I have that they kidnapped him. He behaved like an imbecile now. He took 7 days in the bush. What they did to him, he behaves one kind now. He was a multi-millionaire. Now he's behaving one kind. Tell your neighbor it takes courage to be a Nigerian. Did you tell your neighbor what I said? Tell him again now. It takes more than normal courage to be bold to carry a Nigerian passport. Except you have never traveled. If you have traveled abroad and you are holding a green passport, there are many green passports, but you know your own is Nigerian, your heart is not beating. Something is wrong with you. I wrote an article that got attention and I said, first definition of success is being a Nigerian and you have not committed suicide. To be a Nigerian and you have not committed suicide, you don't have depression, you don't have low self-esteem. Sir, you are a success. Write a book. Am I making sense? You know, Nigeria is a very dramatic country. Bola Ahmed Tinubu still remains the most fascinating politician to me. He's the only politician without a manifesto that won an election. He has only one word for you. It's my turn. If that does not impress you, you are not a student of winning. Bola Ahmed Tinubu should be studied in political science courses. He didn't promise you a new road. He didn't promise your children school. He came. He said, it's my turn. I don't care how you feel. I don't care what you think. It is my turn. Who is your president? Go and study him. You can mock him for falling down, but he has proved to you that he is something you are not. I hope I'm okay. I'm talking leadership here. Because what some of you call leadership is the ability for somebody to pick your Bible, pick your book, open your car door when you don't even have a car. That's what some young people are doing today. You have not bought your own car. They are opening car door for you and entering. That's why God has not given you car up till now. Because you're supposed to practicing opening car door with your own car, not with somebody's car. Young men, young women, I should be able to say that to some of you because I will soon be 50. I know some of you have been saying, hey, this young man, don't insult me. Don't insult me, I'm old. I know I can see my mother, my senior sisters, I can see them here. But I will soon be 50, so I'm not a young man anymore. Courage. Tell your neighbor, courage. It was courage that Alexander the Great conquered half of the known world before he was 30 years old. It's only in Nigeria that they want you to get to 40 for us to vote you. Alexander the Great died at 32. 32. So when did he start conquering the world? Mahatma Gandhi. I was privileged to visit his house in India. And I saw a lot of white people crying. And I was wondering why they're crying. So they'll be cleaning their eye and be coming out from a room. So I was wondering why. So I decided to enter the room. Any room that makes people cry. So I entered. And I found out that it was just a room. Like from that wall to this place, and then it end where Mr. Ben is. But on the walls are articles he wrote with his Bible. And then they are torn. So they gum them and they put them inside glass. So people were reading the exact thing he actually wrote that were not edited on the walls. And it was breaking hearts. And people were asking, what sort of a man is that? It takes courage to do something that will last longer than your lifetime. I snapped pictures that day. I bought every book that they were selling in that place. I've not read anyone. Not read anyone. But I was so inspired that I bought all the books there. Some of you now, you are going to be inspired tonight. You are going to buy 10 books outside. You are going to go and drop it home. 2 years from now, I'll come and tell you, be courageous again. Is it enough? Martin Luther King, courage. Nelson Mandela, courage. Malala, 27-year-old girl that was shot at the age of 17 for standing against the Taliban. Courage. I used to ask this question, let me ask. Then, when you were growing up, sir, do you used to notice that the gate men that were guarding your father's house, they used to have more children than you people? I don't used to know why poor people have courage. Poor people have courage more than rich people. I'm not joking. Because one day I was asking a gate man how many children he has. He has more than me. They are all in school. I'm planning seriously for my one child. This man have 5. And I was wondering why I still don't have the courage to have more. Because I know your excuse. I want to be able to give them the best life. Okay, have you been giving them? There are certain things that we call victory that we turned it upside down. Why? Because we are no longer calling success what it is. We are calling success what everybody assumes it is. It is not success that you have money. It is success how you got money. I repeat myself. It is not success that you have money. It is success how you got that money. You can't do Yahoo and say you are successful. You are a thief. You can't do contract, defraud. You are a thief. And that's the problem with Nigeria. We give beautiful name to wicked things. There's nothing like money laundry. You are a thief. Money laundry makes it look fantastic. You are a fraudulent person. How do you sell 2 houses to two different people if you are not a thief? You don't have courage. You are just a thief. That's not the courage we're asking for. That's not the ability we're asking for. You are shouting and have first class. You never wrote that exam. How do you have first class for an exam you didn't write? You are a thief. You are fraudulent. You are wicked. We have to come to a place where we begin to celebrate what is true and what is right. Hush Puppy still has more followers than me and you. Even though we have concluded that all the money he has, he stole them and is in prison, he still has more followers than me and you. Why? Because you like lies and you like truth. Forgive me, I flew from Kaduna to come and talk to you, so I have to tell you my mind. Today is my son's birthday, but imagine where I am. So I've been chatting with my wife and say, okay, take him here, take him here, take him here, take him here. And do this, do this, do this, do this. Because I think there's somebody in this room that needs my push. Tell your neighbor courage. All right, let me do some small teaching so that you can go. I'm not speaking too long. Courageous leadership. First important point. If my slide is there, you can put it. But if you don't have it, I have my slide by myself, so don't worry. Like I said, nothing great is ever built without the force of courage. Nothing great. Everything that you call success is a product of courage. God said to Joshua, be strong and be courageous twice. He didn't tell him anything 2 times, only that word. Be strong and be thou courage. Courage. Courage is required for anything accomplishment. It takes courage to read your book and pass. It takes courage to marry. It takes courage to give birth. It takes courage to start a business. It takes courage to build a business. It takes courage to do anything. It takes courage. Because there's always fear. What if the girl I marry is not my real wife? How many of you have asked yourself that question? You are not married yet. It takes courage. I got married to an Igbo woman. I'm from the north. I'm actually from Kaduna State. And my wife is from Imo State. And I think my wife is the best thing I have. My wife is the best thing I have. She's an exceptional woman. Exceptional woman. She redefined the meaning of Igbo to me. And it gave me the strength. Fortunately, my elder brother too married an Igbo woman. So we have several Igbo women in our family. And he allows us to be true Nigerians. It doesn't matter the industry you are. It doesn't matter your profession, whether you're in real estate, whether you're in investment banking, whether you are in catering, whether you're a baker. It takes courage for you to build something that is big and sure. It takes courage. Why? What if Mr. Ben buys a property in Abuja, and after he has started developing the property, the federal government revokes the license? Doesn't it happen? Those people in Lagos that build duplexes that the governor came to hit them, you know, say they give them some kind of document, have you? Everything is a risk. And wherever there is a risk, it takes courage to function. For you to come here this morning was a risk. I just want to drive it into your mind that to be alive is a risk. So for you to move beyond where you are, you will need some level of courage. And every one of you here have courage, just that you don't have courage for certain things. So let's look at something. I want to define it for you. Courageous leadership, that's what I want to talk about. It refers to the ability of leaders to make bold decisions. Bold decisions. 1. 2, stand up for values. And 3, inspire their people in the face of difficulty and adversity. How many of you remember Winston Churchill? World War II. Hitler has taken over the known Europe and he was approaching Britain. And already he was conquering Britain. And like the story said, one evening they prepared the Prime Minister of England, which was Winston Churchill, to give a speech. And he gave a speech via radio. And the Army of England, the Navy, the Air Force, the soldier were inspired by a speech given across radio that they rose up and they stopped Hitler. Courage. Courage. Courage for him to pick the right words to tell the right men. Courage. Courage. Whether it's Alexander the Great, courage. Singapore today that you celebrate is a product of courageous leadership. A man woke up one day and decided to change. First thing was to cut ties with Asian tigers. It was terrible. You are just a small nation. Without us, you will die. He says, I would rather go and die than continue to be a slave to you people. And today, Singapore is one of the best economies in the world, one of the best places to live in the world. You don't horn in Singapore. You don't do pam-pam. It's a crime. You know what they're trying to say? Everybody driving a car has sense. You don't throw dirt on the road. I went to an African country to see, they call it the neatest country, the neatest city in Africa, Arusha, Tanzania. I had not gone to Calabar that time. So by the time I went to Calabar and they said Calabar was very neat, it was true. Calabar was very, very neat. But Arusha, Tanzania is like daylight compared to it. Like daylight. You don't see anything on the floor. People pick it. At every distance, there is a bin. So it's not me that threw it on the floor. I see it, I pick it, I dump it. Sometimes when you look at the virtue of men, you will see the results of their life. Why is Japan great? It's not because they are wiser than us. Because they are bent on doing the right thing. Japan went to World Cup. After they finished, they packed the things they threw on the floor. And it became national news. But to the Japanese, they were living their life. You open wine down, you spit outside. How did you buy car? It is worrisome. Because when we talk about leadership, we're talking about how you live your life and people can see you. That's what leadership is about. How do you dress? People can look at you. How do you talk when people can look at you? How do you eat in public when people can look at you? When we talk leadership, we're talking about you becoming an example for people to look at you. I'm asking you, beyond today, that we are all looking majestic. How do you live when there's no light? How do you live when there are no cameras? How do you live when there are no ovations? In your private moments, are you still light of the world? Because we are only light of the world, inside light. We dress nice on Sunday morning, we dress pathetic on Monday evening. Have you noticed when somebody wants to say something nonsense, you say, let me tell you my church mind? How is your church mind only producing rubbish? That's how bad we live. There are several kinds of courage, but I won't go there because I have one slide to round up. Then I'll share a story with you. You see, some of you may not have physical courage, but you have emotional courage. So courage can be moral, courage can be emotional, courage can be intellectual, courage can be social, courage can be physical, and courage can be spiritual. When you look at men like Daniel in the Bible, they have spiritual courage. When you look at men like David, they had physical courage. When you look at men like Joseph, they had physical courage, intellectual courage. You know, it takes somebody that is really, really bold enough to be willing to enter and speak to a king, claiming he has solution. It's courage. So your courage can be mental, it can be moral, it can be all that. Like I said, I don't want to stress myself on that. But when we talk about moral courage, we're talking about standing up for what is right. I don't want to say some things because all of us are on social media and it's terrible. But I want to ask you a question. You know how bad Nigeria is going in morality. What's your contribution? What's your contribution? What's your contribution? Are you standing up for what is great, even at the threat of your life? Emotional. The deputy chief whip was talking about a negative emotional courage. That is the ability to wake up one morning and make up your mind you are going to confront your boss. That's not wisdom. It has never been. It will never be. I lost a lot in my career because of that assumed courage. That I don't fear anybody. You better find somebody to fear. Intellectual is the willingness to challenge ideas. You are so young now. Somebody is talking to you and is saying things and you are just saying deep, 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 deep. What is deep? Learn to challenge an ideology. When somebody gives you a phrase, look at the phrase upside down. Don't take everything that we tell you for face value. Look into what we have said. And as you are looking into what you have said, if you have time, look into our lives. Why? Any man's life that does not match his words, don't take him. You don't become what we tell you. You become the energy we give you. There are men today in the religious circle. There are men today in the political space. There are men today in the financial space that their lives do not warrant emulation. But we have to clap for them. Why? Because they have Naira and Kobo. Stop doing that. It's easier to make money than to live right. I repeat myself. It is easier to make money than to live right. Yes, sir. Write it in capital letter. Bill Gates was the richest man in the world for 33 years. He can't keep one wife. It's easier to be a billionaire than to be faithful to one woman. When a man has money, but he does not have the requisite life, don't follow him. It's high time we tell ourselves the truth. We are following people to our shipwreck. We're destroying ourselves. Imitate me as I imitate Christ. Say, follow them who through faith and patience obtained. He said, knowing the kind of life that we have lived, he said, endeavor to follow after us. That was Apostle Paul's advice. The same Apostle Paul says, I'm writing to you, O Colossians. If there's anyone that I have defrauded, if there's anyone that I have corrupted, how many pastors can tell us that now? How many politicians can tell us that? I know a politician that his video went viral. He came out from bathroom, naked head to toe. 2 girls were sleeping on the bed. He came out from bathroom and the video went viral on Twitter. He still won an election. Sir, can it happen in America? Can it happen in England? Because you know you people, your generation, you are very sharp. If I call name now, you Google it and see it. I don't want you to see that thing. So the name is withheld. But the video didn't go viral in the north. It went viral nationally on Twitter. Twitter. It was in my children's school, I saw it. My son is schooling in private school where those privileged children are. And that was where I was hearing the conversation. And hey, what are you talking about? And they showed me the video and I shouted, God. 3 years later, he won election. He's active now in politics. He's actually, I won't call title, but he's actually a powerful man. This one not carry for one kukula. Man walking naked. That's what you want to Google. You will see them. There are many men walking naked across the world. In America, they will say they found out that you paid a girl money for something. You will resign in the money. In Nigeria, they will catch you red-handed. In the morning, you give a press conference. My enemies have made up their mind to destroy me, and I've made up my mind I'll fight back. That's a speech. That's a speech. Courageous leadership. Life first. Living first. All right, write these 3 things down and I'll close. There's something I wanted to tell you, but I won't be able to add it because I made up my mind and then close at the right time. For us to conclude that you are courageous, there are qualities. I won't be able to address them. 3 of them were addressed by men. 2 were addressed by Chief Whip. I only like putting them in perspective. I teach it under this. I teach leadership, so I teach it under, I call it qualities of effective leadership. There are 6 R's, but I may not be able to do that here. So there's something I think I will give you here that will keep you for a long time. And that is pillars of courage. When you look at any man that is courageous anywhere in the world, apart from those who are fighting wars with their energy to win battles, when you look at them, you find out that they have many things in common. How many of you know that Martin Luther King Jr. had just one wife? And he was a very good family man. How many of you know the same thing about Mahatma Gandhi? Three pillars of courage. 1, vision. You see, men are able to withstand any hardship because of what they have seen. When I came, that's what Mr. Ben was talking about. We were in this office, but we're not seeing this office. So everything we went through in this office is not because of this office. It's because of what we have seen. And that thing we are seeing is not a building. It's a tomorrow in our mind. Vision emboldens men. One day as I was planning winning mindset, I was lying down and I saw the winning mindset crowd. And the thing I saw was Kosa Church, like Kosa Church. And I woke up, I called my team, I said, we are going to hold this winning mindset. We are going to shut down the biggest venue in every place in Kaduna. And we move from one venue to another. We don't do it twice. Shut down, shut down, shut down, shut down, shut down. If I do here and there is space, I come back again. That same place until I shut down. Why? I saw something that's possible. Vision. Vision is the ability to see the invisible. Vision is something you are seeing that the person standing there is not seeing it. So vision is not something your physical eyes can see. Vision is that dream that you have personalized. Every man dreams, but not every man sees vision. Even scripture says it's when the Holy Ghost come upon you. He said when? He said your sons shall dream and they will see visions. Vision. Sir, ma, young boy, young girl, fathers, leadership coaches. What have you seen? What have you seen? For the vision is for an appointed time. Every vision has time for expression. And only what you have seen will gain expression in your life. There is nothing that will be expressed in your life that you have never seen. So it is for your own good you begin to have dreams. It's for your own good you begin to capture visions. Because it's only what you have seen that you can handle. That's the first pillar. When you see people enduring things, don't just assume they are physically strong. Sometimes it's what they have seen that makes them go through pain. Vision. Vision. Number 2, values. All right, it's on the board. Values. One of my friends, the MD of, let me keep this company name, not necessary. One of my friends is into Mr. Ben's industry. And he said something when he came to speak in my conference 4 years ago. I discovered that every January when you want to do New Year resolution, one New Year resolution that is common with everybody is the plan to cut off certain friends. True of us. If you are guilty, this one. I'm going to cut off certain people. There are certain things here. Why are you always cutting people? Why don't you cut yourself off? You know, sometimes in the relationship, you are the bad one. But because you are trying to change, you are trying to get somebody that is less bad than you. So, one day I was talking and he was speaking and he says, you don't need to cut off your friends. There is a system by God for cutting friends. My ear got to hear. And he said, anytime you have issues with men, redefine your values. Your values will rearrange your relationship. I will never forget that statement. I began to pick what is important to me. And I began to tell everyone in my circle, this is important to me. I can't be hanging around people who this is their emphasis. And I didn't have to cut anybody. People began to pick sides. Go and practice it. Make sure your life is built around your value system. Ladies and gentlemen, you will not have issues with wrong friends. No. Somebody is wrong, he shouldn't be your friend. But wrong people can be around you. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. It's evil communications that corrupt good manner. It's not evil that corrupts. Until you engage evil, it cannot corrupt you. So they say evil communication. Communication there means interactions with evil. It will influence you. If you don't, it will influence you. So evil people around you, don't you have evil brothers? Did you cut them off? Don't you have sisters that are doing terrible things? Did you throw them off? No. Redefine your value system. Values is simply what is important to you that drives your lifestyle. Pick good values. Today we have terrible values in our nation. Terrible. Young people no longer have regard for the dignity of their bodies. I used to crack a joke that when I was young, I hardly see a woman in bikini. In this generation now, you snap with bikini and put it on page. In our time, anyway, maybe that's because swimming pool no plenty that time. Now you are telling yourself, nobody can shame my body. I can do what I like with my body. Sister, it's not your body. Somebody died for that body. It's not your own. That you are bold to show your body does not mean you are wise. You can be stupidly bold, and it will cost you a lot. Don't be like that girl that says you can give her 20 million and get her legs. Don't be like her. 20 million is a lot of money for legs. Don't do that. It doesn't make you fantastic. It doesn't make you significant. It doesn't make you relevant. It doesn't make you important. You say stupid things. It doesn't make you anything fantastic. Be careful. What you speak, be careful. Everything you are saying is a reflection of your value system. Some of you are not yet married. You have started making comments that is going to lead to divorce. I don't tolerate men talking to me anyhow. If I marry you, you talk to me anyhow, I will just leave you. You are planning divorce. You have not met a man. When I marry, I'm going to retain my name. I have built a brand. Sister, keep your name. We're not marrying you. Don't be telling people those rubbish. I know a marriage that didn't stand because the girl wants to keep her name because she says she has built a brand online. What the hell are you talking about? What useless brand are you talking about? I won't marry you. You know for collect my name because you get brand. Please stay with your father. Value system. Value. What are your values? I'm from the family side. I believe in healthy family. I believe in healthy family. So, I'm a pro-family. I'm against everything the world has ever said about family. I'm against it 100%. The reason why this world does not have good family standard is because the man to lead the family does not have a right. So there is women right. There is children right. There is animal right. Even dog in your house has more rights than the father. It has broken down homes. I'm not against women. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. I call men who beat their wife horses. Because now horse, when he vex, they use leg. It's not a horse band, it's a horse band. I don't believe in abuse, but I'm saying there are certain things that have destroyed us. Am I making sense? What are your values? What are your values? I know you didn't plan for me to talk to you like this. But you see, for us to be the kind of leaders that we have been for so long, I heard the deputy speaker talking about being a leader from church. I also started from the church. And this is 27 years. I've been in the limelight. I've not faded. 27 straight years. When I was poor, I was in the limelight. When I was on campus, I was in the limelight. There's something that makes men endure. Values. Tell your neighbor values. The ability to stand up for what is right and what is true. And last one, voice. 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 Tell your neighbor voice. What does voice mean? The ability to speak up. Anything that is wrong that you are standing for, after a while, start speaking up against it. Did you hear what I just said? Anything that you are standing up for as a value, speak up against it. Let me give you the wisdom. By the way, you're the one that did that something, I did. Amazing. Good. I've been looking for your face. You're very good. Now, if you are standing for healthy lifestyle, speak for it. Standing for it is not enough. Standing for it is you are expressing a life that reflects it. Speaking for it is how you can get people to enter into it. So, you must. What did this girl do, Malala, as I close? Malala wanted equal education rights in Pakistan for young children, girls. Because she's a girl and she was being deprived of education, but her parents had small money, so they were able to train her. So she wanted to speak up after identifying that education is a value she wants to stand for. As she started to speak out, it was gaining global attention. Then the Pakistanis, the Taliban now shot her. As a small girl, she was 17, they shot her. They rushed her to the hospital and they used close to a year to do surgeries and everything, and they saved her life. When they saved her life, she traveled to the UK to get better. When she came back, she did not stop. But at this time, because of what had happened to her, the entire world was looking on her. It was no longer easy to attack her. Because United Nations now know that there's a voice. America now knows that there's a voice. Britain now know that there's a young girl that is doing something for humanity. The world stood for her. She's 27 years old today. The Pakistan, the Taliban are in power, but nobody's going to shoot her again. Because it's now costly for you to shoot her. Speak up! Why? It is not courage if your life is not threatened. Speak up! This is wrong. Speak against it. This is right. Speak for it. Ladies and gentlemen, whether me and you like it or not, the only kind of leadership that we are looking for in this generation now is bold leadership. It's leadership that is born out of true courage. Leadership that speaks virtue. Leadership that amplifies value systems. And leadership that comes from men who actually live the life that they preach. God bless you.